with a dream. One man, one radio show, dedicated solely to one fantasy football league. But that man and that dream could not be contained.
That's right, bitches. I got a TV show now.
Hi, I'm Amber. Amber Alert. Normally in a commercial like this, the girl would be asking you to call or text them. But I actually contact you. I'm so turned on, there's absolutely no freaking way to turn me off. Oh, I'm sending you a message, and it's gonna be long and slow and loud, and it's gonna come 3 times. I don't care if you're at work. I don't care if your wife's around. I don't care if your kids are around. Well, actually, maybe your kid isn't around, in which case, you can thank me later, big boy.
Amber Alert. From the same people who brought you your kids unplugging the television during Game of Thrones, and the severe thunderstorm warning during the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl.
Well, the countdown is over. MarkCenter is finally here. On this, our inaugural show, we will of course discuss that little fantasy football league from the greater Houston area, now in its 10th season, and we will also unveil the league's new name. Also on the show today, the worst sports moments in Houston history. What are they, and when did they happen? Jerking off. Simply for pleasure, or is there more to it than that? Special guests include Stephen A. Smith, Morgan Freeman, our good friend Tomas, and Mickey Mouse. Gentlemen, start your engines. MarkCenter is next. Well, welcome to the show. Could not be more excited to be hosting this, the first episode of my brand new TV show, MarkCenter, dedicated solely to the one and only fantasy league that matters, and the players it is comprised of: David, Brett, Robert, Pert, Justin, Stephen, Daniel, Eric, Ryan, Jay, John, and Jared. Per network rules, we have to begin with Johnny Manziel, so let's go to reporter Aaron Andrews. Aaron, I hear you got a good look at Johnny's fecal matter this morning. What color was it?
Well, Mark, you're right. Luckily, it flushed this morning, so I was able to get in after him and determine that his poop was brownish green. Maybe he had some Italian last night, or maybe a Mexican dish.
I see. What about the consistency?
Well, it looked a little runny, but it had been in there for a while, so who knows?
Okay, thanks, Aaron. Great work as always. All right, well, now it is time to unveil the new... Damn it, guys, who the hell misspelled the word segment? Can we get that fixed? Jeez, man, it's not like it's my first show or anything. You've already got me in the freaking 4 a.m. time slot. Bob, can you get that fixed? Thanks, bastards. Anyway, in the 10 years of its existence, the league has never been named. We decided to take the time this year to properly name it, so per my instructions, my entire staff took the last several months, conducted numerous studies, polled well over 3,000 people to come up with a name that's worthy of such a great league. And now is the time that we reveal that name to the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, the new name is...
The Fantasy Football League.
I'm firing my entire staff right after the show. Well, now it's time for this week's edition of the Mark Callahan editorial. this may be news to you, but men like to jerk off. But I feel there are many misconceptions about it, especially amongst women, so I think it's time we clear the air on a few things. First of all, ladies, we don't masturbate the same way that you do. Typically, women do it because they're horny, but for men, that's not always necessarily the case. So I thought I'd take a little time today to explain the different types of male masturbatory sessions. Numero uno, the horny jerk. This is exactly what it sounds like. You know, fellas, you're at the gym, you see the hot Colombian chick in the yoga pants doing her stretches. So you snap a mental image and make a deposit in the First National Bank of Spank, only to go home that night and make a full withdrawal in the shower, with your wife sitting on the bed in the next room, trimming her toenails. Everyone knows this type of jerk. But we also have number two, the routine jerk. This is a jerk a man will do at a given interval. For example, it could be every night in the shower, though it need not necessarily be every day. Who knows, maybe the wife goes for a run every Saturday morning, and that's your time to plug your laptop into the flat screen. The point being, this type of jerk is more akin to drinking coffee every morning just because, as opposed to sneaking that one piece of chocolate a month because you're feeling a little naughty. Jerk number three, the maintenance jerk. This jerk occurs not because we're horny, not because it's part of routine, but simply because we haven't gotten off in a few days, and if something doesn't happen soon, we don't know what the hell might happen. Sometimes you're just sitting there minding your own business and realize, good Lord, I haven't blown a load in 3 freaking days. What the hell am I doing with my life? So at the next possible moment, you spurt one out in less than the time it takes to make a Pop-Tart. Which brings us to number four, the bored jerk. Man, we've all had times when we've been sitting on the couch on a hot summer afternoon, wife's out with some friends. There's no football, no basketball, just us and a Netflix watch list that is rapidly shrinking. You had sex that morning, so you're not really horny. You obviously don't need to do any maintenance, and it's nowhere near time for your routine jerk. But guess what? You're bored. So bored, in fact, that it occurs to you that pulling your meat out and tugging on it for a while pretty much sounds better than anything else you can think of. So you do. Because a man doesn't masturbate simply because he's horny. A man will jerk off simply because he's bored. And that's this week's Mark Callahan editorial. Well, the new ESPN Body magazine issue came out recently, and we have a special guest on with us today to look through some of the pictures. Mickey Mouse, ladies and gentlemen.
It sure is swell to be on the show today, Mark.
Well, you know, Mickey, it's just great having you. Okay, let's get right to the pictures.
Oh, no. That must be what it's like to be in a porno with Peter North, right when he... all over your face.
Wow, Mickey, you're kind of... Uh-oh, that's a shame.
I didn't realize Daryl from The Office played baseball.
Well, look at this guy. He's really got his ball held high.
He's just trying to counteract the fact that his other balls are dragging on the ground.
Mickey, you slay me, Mickey.
Well, looky here. Oh, boy. It's Serena Williams.
Yeah, looks like she finally decided to let those babies hang free.
That's right. Oh, no. Look at this guy. Oh, no.
That's right. How'd that get in there?
Oh, look at you, Mark. You did it again. Woo-hoo.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on. Who keeps putting all these pictures of me in there? Well, I think that's all the time we have for today, Mickey. Why don't you whistle us a tune on your way out? Now, fellas, it's time for a segment I've actually tried to avoid for quite some time. Now, the media will have you believe that cities like Cleveland, Buffalo, and Minneapolis have the most tortured fan bases. Their reasoning being that basically their teams have sucked for however many years. But isn't it worse? To have a team that actually contends year in, year out, that constantly rips your heart out? That's why I throw the city of Houston's hat into the ring for the most tortured fan base. I won't even mention the fact that the Rockets of the mid-'80s, the Oilers of the early 90s, and the Astros of the late 90s were each considered some of the most talented teams to never win a championship. I won't mention that Mike Renfro's non-catch ushered in instant replay in the NFL. I won't mention that terrible call that Fred Brocklander made in the '86 NLCS, which led to the Mets taking the series over the Astros. I won't mention that brutal Oilers loss to the Chiefs in the '92 NFL playoffs, or the fact that the Titans went to the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history just 2 years after leaving Houston. I won't mention the biggest comeback in NFL history, the fact that the Rockets have been on the losing end of 3 series-ending losses on buzzer beaters, including one against the Supersonics in 1989 at the hands of Derek McKee, that for some reason can't be found on the internet. Never mind the fact that the University of Houston, with one chance in 30 years to go to a BCS bowl game, misses out on that chance for an undefeated season by losing to Southern Miss in the 2011 CUSA Championship. I won't talk about the Astros losing 100 games 3 seasons in a row, losing their entire 2014 draft, or the fact that 70% of Houston could not watch the Rockets or Astros games for the last 2 years because of some godforsaken TV dispute. And I guess I shouldn't bring up the fact that the 2 championships Houston has won, the Rockets' 93-94 and 94-95 titles, are forever tainted in the minds of observers because Michael Jordan was off playing baseball. No, to hell with all of that. In reality, I don't care if people view Houston as a tortured fan base. It's not a distinction I really want my city to have. But I do want people to know and remember what we've been through, what it's actually like to be a fan of the University of Houston, the Rockets, the Oilers, the Astros, and now the Texans. So for that reason, I give you this. Some of the worst sports moments in Houston history. If you're a die-hard Houston sports fan, or if there are small children in the room, you may want to divert your eyes.
Big Dave, owner of Big Dave's Natural Spring Bottled Water, and I'm here to tell you all about why you should be drinking my product.
Let's start with the bottles. Each bottle has a luxurious plastic aerodynamic design, enabling easy flow through the throat. People like the design of the bottle so much that they willingly pay for it, despite the fact that the filtered water they have at home is free and literally the exact same thing.
Now I know what some of you are thinking. Wait, Big Dave, if the only difference between your bottled water and the water I drink at home is the bottle itself, couldn't I just refill your bottle at home when I'm done with it? Nope. You see, refilling a bottle of water takes roughly 4 to 5 seconds. Precious time that could be used doing something productive like teaching your kids how to read. And you don't want your kids to be illiterate, do you?
And don't you worry. All of Big Dave's Natural Spring Bottled Water is bottled right here in Houston to lock in that good old Southern flavor.
Look, it really boils down to one simple question. Would you rather pay more than the price of gas for the most abundant resource on Earth? Or would you rather just try and get something for free? Sort of like a communist.
Big Dave's Natural Spring Bottled Water. Because we're all stupid. And coming soon, David's Box of Air.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good stuff right there.
Do you like what you do for a living? These things you see?
You have to wear blinders sometimes. Most times.
Detective William Somerset is looking for a way out.
Retiring. 6 more days and you're all the way gone.
Yeah, I like being a cop, but I like gambling too. What can I say?
Detective David Ashley is also looking for a way out.
All my money's on Tom Brady and the Patriots this weekend. They cover the spread. I hit a 10-team parlay. That's it. I'm done. I'm moving to Mexico.
Now, they're caught in a game.
About the only thing we know about that guy right now is he's totally insane.
This bookie, whoever he is, he's killing all of his customers one by one.
Where the price of gambling is death.
You want to come take a look at this?
I hate this city.
This will be the very definition of swift justice.
There are 2 more bodies, 2 more victims.
I don't know. I never met my bookie in person.
This guy's methodical, exacting, and worst of all, patient.
Whoever my bookie is, he is the killer. Tom Brady?
David, if you kill him, he will win.
Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh!
-7.
And we are back, and I'll tell you what, did they just give away the ending to that movie? I feel like I know the entire plot. Anyway, let's get right down to the important stuff, the final regular season standings. We see David finishing number 1, Brett coming in at number 2, Jay, number 3, Robert, number 4, Jared at number 5, Daniel, 6, Eric, 7, and Steven, number 8, rounding out our playoffs. Our losers include Justin, Ryan, Pert, and John. First up, we have David's team. Now, David finished first in the league record-wise as well as in points scored. David invested heavily in the draft in wide receivers, taking Demaryius Thomas and Des Bryant as his top 2 picks, and that has really paid off for him. Not to mention he also has Jeremy Maclin. That trio has finished 2, 4, and 6 respectively in overall points scored amongst wide receivers. But it doesn't stop there, as his overall team depth is something to contend with. Areas of concern could be the injuries to running backs, and the fact that Andre Ellington has started to tail off towards the end of the season. However, David does have 5 running backs that finished in the top 21 overall at their position in points scored on the season, so he does have depth to back those guys up. We move now to Brett's team. Brett also finished at 9-4, second overall in the league, as well as 4th overall in scoring. Brett's top playmaker would obviously be Matt Forte, and he really doesn't have any holes at his other starting positions. Now, where Brett might worry is that though he is solid at every position, there's not much depth backing up those starters. So if the injury bug bites during the playoffs, it could potentially cause some problems. Jerry's team. Jay finished the season at 8-5, 3rd overall, as well as 2nd overall in scoring with 95 points a game. Jay's strengths include those playmakers in A.J. Green and Marshawn Lynch, both of whom are capable of taking over a fantasy football game by themselves. So long as the injury bug doesn't bite, look for Jay to be there until the end. We go down to Robert, our rating champion, coming in at number 4 at 8-5, also 3rd overall in scoring with 93.5 points a game. More so than perhaps any team in the league, Robert relies on his top-end talent with DeMarco Murray, Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, and now Josh Gordon to add to the mix. In addition to Stephen Gostkowski, the top overall scorer in fantasy football amongst kickers this year. If there is a perceived weakness, it is that there is a big drop-off between those top-end players and the rest of his team. So depth could potentially be a concern. But as we all know, it's the high-end playmakers that win fantasy football leagues, and Robert has that in spades. We go now to Jared's team. 5th overall in the standings, 6th overall in scoring. Strengths include Aaron Rodgers, as well as that pair of tight ends in Antonio Gates and Julius Thomas. Jared's glaring weakness is at the running back position. He was able to snag Daniel Heron off the waiver wire, but if Jared gets knocked out of the playoffs early, lack of scoring coming from this position will likely be the culprit. Danielson! Finishing the season at 6th overall, 7th overall in scoring. His strength? Quarterbacks. Peyton Manning by himself is capable of winning a league, as well as Ben Roethlisberger riding his bench. Areas of concern: outside of Peyton Manning, there's really no high-end players, especially at the wide receiver position. Also, Daniel has to hope that Denver keeps C.J. Anderson locked in at the starting running back position once some of those other guys get back from injury. Finishing the season in 7th place is Eric, also at 9th in overall points scored. Now, Eric's strength lies in his top 3 players, Drew Brees, Le'Veon Bell, and Calvin Johnson. However, there is a steep drop-off in talent after those top 3 players. While all 3 of those players could go off in a given week, you really worry about having to rely on big games from each of them 3 weeks in a row during the playoffs. And last but not least, we have Steven, who squeaked into the playoffs the last week of the season, coming in at number 8, while also finishing number 5 overall in points scored. Steven pulled off a huge mid-season trade to land LaShawn McCoy to go along with Jamal Charles, not to mention the fact that he has Andrew Luck at quarterback. Steven's biggest weakness could be at the wide receiver position, but this appears to be a tough matchup for David in the first round of the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, let's get to those first round matchups, as well as my predictions for how this whole thing is going to play out. First up, we have David against Steven. Brother against brother. I like David in a squeaker in this one. 104-101. Next up, we have Robert and Jared. I'm really liking Robert's chances this year. I think Robert pulls away 121-92. Next up, we have Jay and Daniel. I'm also sensing a big win in this one for Jay. 119-90. And last but not least, we have Brett and Eric. I like Brett, 101-79. So, if those predictions were to hold true, I would like Robert in an upset over his son David in the second round, as well as Jay over Brett. And in the championship, I'm predicting Robert Ashley. That's right. I predict that Robert Ashley will defend his championship this season and walk away as the 2014 Fantasy Football League champion. Now, most sports fans are probably at least somewhat familiar with the statistical revolution that has seemingly taken over sports. Many were first exposed to the idea in Michael Lewis's classic book Moneyball, which has since been turned into a Hollywood movie. So we decided to create a weekly segment in which we delve a little deeper into sports analytics. Each show we will answer viewer emails that relate to advanced stats in sports, and also have a guest who will discuss the matter with us. For our inaugural show, we have none other than Mr. Morgan Freeman for a little segment we like to call WAR, What Is It Good For? Joe in Pennsylvania asks, Mr. Freeman, how could I incorporate DVOA into my fantasy football team strategy?
I have no idea.
That concludes this week's edition of WAR, What Is It Good For? Now, obviously, I'm a huge celebrity, and when I'm out, there's no shortage of people trying to get a look at me. But there's ways to go about it and ways not to go about it. Sometimes someone will have their back to me, and a buddy of theirs will mention that I'm standing behind them. Look, people, there's ways to execute this maneuver without me knowing exactly what you're up to. So today I'm going to show you what not to do, because when you do, you aren't fooling anyone. It's today's edition of Don't Do That. Now, for example, there's 3 guys sitting down eating, and one has his back to me. The guy on the left we'll call jackass number 1. The guy with his back to me we'll call jackass number 2, and the guy on the right we'll just call him Shane. I don't really know why, but he's wearing a hat cocked backwards, and that just seems like something a guy named Shane would do. Anyway, so they're minding their business when all of a sudden, jackass number 1 spots himself some Mark Callahan out of the corner of his eye. He mentions it to his buddies, and now Shane's getting himself a peek. So now they're back to chatting, but they're telling jackass number 2 something that starts with, hey, don't look right now, but you can see where this is going. So jackass number 2, Mensa member that he is, decides to pull off the patented look-back maneuver. It goes something like this. Well, okay, I'm just going to turn and look over here to the right. Totally normal. Well, I'll go ahead and stretch, maybe a yawn too. That seems like something I would be doing right now. Well, maybe now I'll just turn around in my chair. Where is that waiter anyway? Never mind the fact that he just walked past me in the opposite direction. I'm just going to get a feel from my surroundings. At this point, he gives a quick little glance in my direction, trying to play it off, but the next part is where he really amps up the performance. He just keeps swiveling his head right past me because, like everyone else, when something is on my left, I always turn clockwise in my chair 360 degrees, because that makes sense. Perhaps he's kin to Zoolander. He's not an ambi-turner. I don't know. Oh, look, now he's squinting, really trying to sell the drama. Anyway, he then basically does the whole performance backwards, gives me one last glance, and then he's back to discussing my awesomeness with his friends. Look, folks, I get it. I'm awesome. I don't care if you look at me, but don't do that. Well, next up on the show, we get serious for a minute, as we have a one-on-one session with none other than Mr. Stephen A. Smith in a segment we call Better Axe Somebody, brought to you by Axe Body Spray. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Stephen A. Smith to the show.
Walk that trick, walk that trick, walk that trick, walk that trick, walk that trick.
All right. You know, when they asked me if I'd like to have Stephen A. Smith on my show, I told them I'd rather be drinking a fifth. But yet, no. Okay, not much of a sense of humor, I see. Well, let's get right to it. Now, you recently came under some fire from women for some comments you made, and actually ended up being suspended from ESPN. I'm curious about your feelings towards women now. So, if I were to say that women are in fact a man's equal, what would your response be?
That is blasphemous! That is blasphemous! How dare you? How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity!
So, not a fan of females, I take it. What about ESPN's decision to suspend you?
Blasphemous, asinine, stupid, foolish, ridiculous.
Okay, wow. Okay, well, what would you say is the average age of a woman that you typically sleep with?
50!
I see. And how would you describe those women both sexually and as just human beings in general?
A walking abomination. A walking embarrassment. A disgrace of the highest order. They are so damn pathetic. I'm ashamed to be in the same building.
Well, Stephen A., you're really just putting it all out there. Sounds kind of like you might just prefer men then, huh? Any guys in particular?
Isaiah Thomas, look, do what you gotta do.
Slow down there, Stephen A., slow down. Okay, well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen A. Smith absolutely hates women, and he wants to have sex with Isaiah Thomas. Okay, well, for the final segment of the show, we've asked all of today's guests to rejoin us to discuss a topic that's on all of our minds quite frequently. It's today's edition of Around the Porn. So, Stephen A., please don't go anywhere. We'd also like to welcome Morgan Freeman back. Morgan, how you doing?
Well, now, let me see. You know, I don't have any idea what that means. What do you really want to know? Am I sorry for what I did? There's not a day goes by I don't feel regret. I look back on the way I was then. A young, stupid kid who committed that terrible crime. I want to talk to him. I want to try to talk some sense to him. Tell him the way things are. But I can't. That kid's long gone, and this old man is all that's left. I gotta live with that.
Also, Mickey Mouse, ladies and gentlemen. Why the hell do I keep getting dragged onto this stupid show? Sorry there, buddy. What were you doing?
What was I doing? Why, I was knee-deep in Minnie Mouse. That's what the hell I was doing. Damn it. Now I've got blue balls, and you want to drag me onto your show again to talk about mother porn? Well, you, Mark.
Okay, well, and our last guest of the day is our good friend Domas. Butterfly in the sky, I can get twice as high. Take a look, it's in my butt. I am Domas. He is Domas. I am Domas. Hey, fellas. Was that Reading Rainbow? More like Reading Rainbow. Wow, I probably should have seen that one coming. That's not all you'll see coming, Mark. This show has probably already been canceled, so let's just get on with this. So, Thanksgiving is behind us, and we actually have some Christmas-themed pornos we're all excited about. Oh, what fun it is to ride! Slay the bells, and one you might be interested in, Tomas. Don we now our gay apparel. Oh, you're damn right I'm into it, Mark. But don't forget about Yank My Doodle, It's Dandy, Wet Dreams May Come, Throbbing Hood, Queer Hunter, Lord of the Cock Rings, The Bone Ranger, Robocock, Masturbators of the Universe, Little Orphan Tranny, Harry Peter and the Sorcerer's Bone, Gaze of Thunder, Full Metal Jackoff, Face Jam, Crocodile Dundee. Actually, guys, Tomas doesn't know it, but we went ahead and just cut off his mic. He'll just keep going on and on. Now, Stephen A., you mentioned that you watched Titty Titty Gangbang last weekend. How many times did you get off to that one?
50!
Oh, I bet. And, Mickey, what about you? I heard you've actually been producing some movies lately.
You bet, Mark. I'm very proud of the work we did on Sleeping Beauty, as well as Snow White and the Seven Dicks, which is due out on video in December.
Okay, and finally, Morgan Freeman, you said that you're really into titty sprinkles right now. Tell me about that a little bit.
Titty sprinkles. I do love me some titty sprinkles. In the morning, I like to put titty sprinkles on my pancakes. And when my friends aren't looking, I like to snort them up my nose. Doesn't matter what color, blue, green, red, purple. Hell, I even like rainbow-colored titty sprinkles. I've even taken a bath in titty sprinkles. Hard to wash off, though. But why would you want to? Everybody wants to smell like titty sprinkles. That's the good stuff.
Okay, well, guys, that may just wrap things up for us around here. I'd like to thank our guest today, Morgan Freeman, Mr. Stephen A. Smith, Mickey Mouse, and Tomas.
Black Hawk Down, Ace Ventura, 10 Things I Hate About Pooh, and 28 Dicks Later. Yep, that's all the ones I've been watching this morning. What about you, Mark? Anything special?
Well, actually, I've really been into this one called Requiem for a Cream lately.
You're so nasty.
You know what, Tomas? I am nasty. Which reminds me, fellas, I'd like to give my condolences to our producer, Bob. Now, we give Bob a lot of grief around here, but his wife, Winter, recently ran off with another fella she met at Comic-Con. Apparently the guy's a big Game of Thrones fan. He was dressed as Jaime, she was dressed as Cersei, and the two just really hit it off. And well, Bob being a Star Trek fan, Winter just didn't think things were going to work out. So, Bob, sorry buddy, we wish you well.
Hey Bob, look at the bright side. At least you know that winter is coming.
Got it? I worked homicide 5 years. Yeah, damn it. All my money's on Tom Brady and the Patriots this weekend. They hit the spread. Oh, damn it.
Action.
No, Somerset, don't you get it? Whoever by... Now, damn it. Here, just keep it going. Just stop it. But whatever, I don't care.
Well, no, that's...
Tom Brady.
Do it again. Hold on. Go ahead.
Fuck, there's people turning in here. Can you not get it? Can you not get it?
No.
Why did the door not come out?
No, because I didn't push the button. Okay, you gotta do it again. Sorry, you're just gonna have to do it. This is actually the perfect place.
Where did the glasses go? Seriously, I don't know where I put my glasses down.
Over there. Huh? Find that log.
Why, hello. My name is Amber. Amber. Damn it. Hi, my name is Amber. Amber Alert. And that's why...
Well, oh boy! Well, oh boy! It's Serena Williams. God dog. Well, oh boy! It's Serena Williams. Well, oh boy! It's Serena. That's right, Mark! And you can just suck my balls! That's not all that's gonna be coming, Mark. Piss! Piss out of my ass!
Butterfly in the sky, I can get twice as high. Take a look, it's in my butt, a reading rainbow. I can blow anyone.
You know what, Mark? You can just lick the hairs in between my butt crack that are stuck together by pieces of my own feces! You bastard!
It's ways to go, 'cause your boyfriend's a hoe, a reading rainbow.
Damn it, Mark!